Call the Select Board meeting of Monday, April 14th, 2025 to order at 6:02 p.m. We're going to start with a public hearing, a new business license for Crafters on the Causeway, located at 852 Roosevelt Trail. Anybody here to speak for or against that license? Seeing none. Number two, also a new business license for GEM Construction LLC, located at 6 Rockwood Way. Anybody here to speak for that one? Go ahead.
I have nothing to say. I'm just here.
Okay, all right. Number three, we have a liquor license for Smokin' Jay's Barbecue at 1124 Roosevelt Trail. Anybody here for that one? Something to say?
No, we would just like the liquor license, please.
Okay. Anybody got any questions? Moving forward, we'll move on to the regular select board meeting. Please rise and salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Review of the meeting minutes from March 24th, 2025.
Make a motion to approve the minutes, but to add 20,000 to under new business letter A. I think it was 220 grand, not 200 grand.
No, the final report came in as 200.
So I don't need
The
that.
final estimate came in at 200,000.
Perfect, even better. Make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve. I need a second.
Second.
Any questions? All set, Kevin?
I am.
All in favor? Aye. Kevin?
Aye.
5-0. Town managers report.
So the chair is elected to move the town manager's report to the front of the meeting, as it might answer many of the questions that may come up during public participation. Update on the transfer station. The RFID system was installed last week and tested. We're wrapping up training. We expect to have that system online May 1st. Residents can start to come into the town offices next Tuesday to pick up their RFID card. It's a very similar process to what you did when you picked up your old coupon books. The only thing the residents need to bring is a copy of their driver's license for the principal vehicle that will be going in and out, because that license plate gets tied to the tag. Any car can drop it off as long as they get the tag with them, but we do need to assign a license plate associated with that tag. Also, residents will be asked to provide an email address when they pick up their tag. The reason for that is once you check out or you create a transaction at the transfer station, you'll be emailed a receipt that'll show how much you dropped off and how much you have left. If you opt not to provide an email address, then you'll just have the receipt that you get there at the transfer station. If between now and May 1st, you can still use coupons that you have in hand for the remaining year to use the bulky waste station. The road postings, I'd like to thank everybody for obeying the road posting signs, both residents and contractors alike, during the month of March. I get several phone calls as well as the maintenance manager received many phone calls asking, hey, can I go down this road? So that's exactly how it's supposed to work. So I appreciate everyone reaching out and obeying the posted signs. Earth Day cleanup is on Saturday, May 3rd. We'll be hosting this annual cleanup. The main focus is to get after the main corridors. The committee that's working on this to identify which roads they want to clean up. They're going to pick some roads here in town. It's not going to be all the roads. So this is also an opportunity for residents to clean up their properties. Maybe if they got a private road, pick up that roadside trash. It can be dumped. Your bags can be delivered to the maintenance building over there on Route 11. We'll fill up the dump truck there, and then we'll take it over to the transfer station. So you'll see more on that here in the coming weeks regarding where people can come together, get vests, get the grabbers to pick up roadside stuff on the main roads. And after the event, the Legion will be hosting burgers and hot dogs for all those who participated, so it should be a good event. Kent's Landing, the Wright Pierce group that we hired to do the surveying and design concepts for Kent's Landing, they were out here last Thursday and Friday with their engineers doing their elevation shoots. They had to wait for the snow to go away so they could get accurate readings. That'll feed into their recommended design proposals, and we should see those in the next month or so. So more on that. Had a rather disturbing phone call last week from the game warden, Harry Wigman. The game warden service has opted not to have their deputy service this coming year. Due to the reduced number of applications and funding, they are not going to be executing that deputy service this year. So what does that mean for Naples? It's going to be fewer patrol hours by the game wardens on our waterways. I have a meeting tomorrow with the fire chief, the deputy marine, or the seasonal marine safety supervisor, and the fire chief to discuss how's that going to impact our patrols, how we're going to maintain a positive presence on the water, and we're also going to talk about command and control procedures in the event of an incident. So that conversation will happen tomorrow afternoon. That's a good segue into the seasonal marine safety supervisor. Accepted applications during the last week of March and the first week of April. We did interviews. We had 3 applications. And after the review of applications and with the hiring panel's recommendation, we hired Mr. Robert Pump. He is a 31-year veteran of the U.S. Coast Guard, retired Master Chief. For those that don't know, that's the most senior rank you can have as an enlisted person in the Coast Guard or in the Navy. And he was the officer in charge of several small boat units patrolling many of the lakes here in the U.S., as well as our coastal waters and some waters overseas. He's officer in charge of, like I said, 3 small boat units during the course of his career. Brings a wealth of experience with regard to water safety, proper seamanship, and leadership capability that I think will be a good addition for this summer season. For some town admin, property files. So there was a hangover product that we had with ARPA funds when we originally applied for ARPA funds years ago. One of the designated projects was to digitize property files in the code office. The same company that the town uses for all of our shred management, they also provide document services. They provided a really reasonable quote that's within the remaining budget of the ARPA funds. The ARPA funds, for as long as they sat in our account, they gained interest. So while we spent the principal, there was still a significant amount left in interest, so that's going to allow us to pick up this project now. The property files went off-site on Friday, and they'll be off-site for approximately 2 weeks as it gets scanned in. That's phase 1 of the project. The next phase of the project is to get it put onto our local servers and create a web portal so that residents can view property files online. This will be a huge relief to realtors that call to want to get property files, for residents that want to know what's available on their property. This is an added service to the town, and it'll also lighten the administrative burden within the code office. Those files should be back in the town office within the next 2 weeks. And then on audit update, the auditors from RHR Smith were here today. They'll also be here tomorrow, wrapping up the 23-24 audits. We nailed down a date mid-May when we have our 1 select board meeting in May. They will be prepared to have the 23 and 24 audits complete and brief the select board on the outcome of those audits. And that concludes my town manager update.
Any questions for the manager?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Oh, you step up to the podium.
Is there an update on the, John Bisnett, 38 Jugtown Road? Is there an update on the bank projects, the restoration project for my property on Crooked River?
For the bank, I do not have an update on that. I'll reach out to them here this spring. I know they were planning that it was going to be a summer project this year, so I'll see if I can get you a timeline on when they expect to start.
There seems to be a lot of erosion going on right now, so,
Okay,
thank you.
yes.
Anyone else for the manager? No? Moving on to public participation. Public participation limited to 3 minutes per resident. Anybody wishing to speak, now's the time. Seeing none. Any adjustments to the agenda for the attendees? It's a short agenda, I'm good with it. Approval of any licenses or permits.
I make a motion to approve 9A, B, and C. A, Crafters on the Causeway. B, GTM Construction LLC. And C, liquor license for Smokin' Jay's.
So moved.
He made the motion. Are you a second?
So moved, yeah. Oh, sorry, second.
And a motion and a second on the license approvals. Any questions?
Just, I guess, just for general knowledge, what's, the one that must be at the, Rick's Cafe building, the casino there is the first one, what is it?
That's the old sleigh, isn't it?
Yeah, 852 Roosevelt Trail.
They didn't give me that.
It was the country sleigh?
I thought it was.
Yeah.
Yeah? No, it is Rick's Cafe? Oh, maybe it is Rick's. I don't know. We should get maps. How about we get maps from now on?
I can provide you a map, absolutely.
What, so, do we know what's going in there? It's not, obviously, it's been reviewed for the business license and whatever's going in, but just for public knowledge, do we know what it is?
852
It's Rick. Is it?
Well, based on the title, Kevin, I would say it was Crafters,
Just
I think it's-
consignment of handmade craft items. Just a craft shop.
craft shop.
It's a gift shop that will be selling homemade goods by crafters. And it's the little building beside Rick's by
The old
140.
the amphitheater one, or the amphicar one, or the other one? The old, the old ATM, or the old,
The one closest to 114, she said.
oh yeah, so the
Between
amphicar one.
Rick's and 114.
Did you hear that, Kevin?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Anything else? Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
5-0. Old business, got anything?
None over here.
New business. We have an application for the ordinance review committee. We have two of them. And we only have one vacancy.
Yeah, so that was an error on my part. I accepted both applications because the town website shows two vacancies. 'Cause I was treating, one of the members, Kevin Rogers, is also a select board member, as the liaison. But it was pointed out to me in the bylaws that select board members must be a member of the committee. So that means there's only one vacancy. So the application that was received first was from Mr. Matthew Sullivan's. We also received an application from Mark Clement. So my recommendation moving ahead is to consider Matthew Sullivan's for the vacant seat, and then review Mark Clement and recommend him for the wait list should there be an unplanned vacancy on the committee.
Are we sure that they came in that order?
Yes, according to the dates of the applications, we received Matthew Sullivan's back in February, and then Mark Clement's in April.
It's going to be a segue for a point I made to Jason earlier today in regards to the bylaws of committees and how they're, I believe that the chair of every committee should be the liaison, or they should be required to come communicate to the select board at the next meeting after they have their own meetings to give the select board an update. I don't know that it should be the responsibility of a select board member to have to be the liaison when the chair could have that responsibility.
It sounds like that ordinance should be reviewed by the ordinance review committee.
Well, it's bylaws,
Right.
it's not ordinance.
Bylaw.
It's a bylaw.
Yeah, and I think it should be for all the committees, really. The chair of every committee should be the one that comes to the select board and gives them an update. I think.
Martina?
Happy to bring it. So we did just update that ordinance review committee bylaw last February 2024, it was amended. And at that point, that's when we changed it to include a recommendation that we would have a select board member, an appeals board member, and a planning board member as members all the time, if we could, ideally, right? Because those boards are kind of all, have their hands in the ordinances, so that's why we thought that that was a good idea. That's how, and Kevin got on then as a select board member. Our ordinance doesn't really tell us who's supposed to be reporting to you, and I actually would be looking for some clarity on that, because I am the chair, but I know with all new staff in the offices and the way we do things different, seems like everything's a work in progress. So I'm happy to come report to you whenever you would like, but I also don't want to step on Kathy Tombarelli's toes, because I think she's also quite qualified more than I am to do that as well. So, discuss among yourselves and just let me know what you think is the best way forward on that.
And for the select board, I did provide a schedule for the rest of 2025 that shows when various boards and committees will be updating you on average, it's about every 2 to 3 months that they're coming to the select board to provide you an update with what they've been working on and to seek guidance from the select board for additional tasks. So that's something new and only came out a couple months ago, so you haven't had a full cycle through. That can obviously be amended in the future. But again, trying to achieve Kevin's point of getting frequent updates so that those boards and committees are regularly communicating with the select board.
I agree with Kevin. I think it should be the chair of the committee, chair of the board.
Yep.
That updates us.
Yeah, and that was the intent.
Yeah, I mean, I see that, I definitely, Martinez has the availability to Kathy. And I see how that could be beneficial for Kathy to write an update and so on, but that may not, I mean, that definitely doesn't apply to every committee, that
Right.
There's somebody there to be the scribe and give an update, but Martinez, I feel like she's more than capable of telling the select board, or we like to think that most chairs are capable of updating the select board, really. But that's just my opinion.
Okay. Jim?
Back to the issue at hand. It is the responsibility of the select board to fill the vacancy. There's no rule that says which application came in first. In fact, when I sat on that board, we replaced the vacancy on the planning board, not with an alternate, but with somebody else who was more qualified. The vacancy you have before you, and Mr. Clement is probably the most, I don't even know the other individual. Mr. Clement is the most qualified person to fill that vacancy, and it's your responsibility to fill the vacancy with the most qualified person. Doesn't matter whose application came in first. Thank you.
Hi,
Didn't even see you back there.
Susan Fleck. I'm on the Ordinance Review Committee. And I guess an observation or something that I think should be taken into consideration, and we may want to look at the governing document for the committee, is diversity. I really don't know much about the second applicant, but I think that diversity on the committee is important, and I think that I don't want to speak for Martina. I think that it's nice to have people from select board, planning board, and thank you, appeals, there, because they are boots on the ground and they heard what was going on. You try to keep up with watching all the videos, so you try to be knowledgeable about what was discussed and why are we being asked to take a look at this ordinance. And I think that diversity on that ordinance review committee is great, because maybe the less we agree, the more balance is given to the town. So in deciding who is going to be on that committee, I would encourage you to think about that.
Go ahead, Steve.
Is this something we have to fill tonight? Or can we table this and take a better look at it overall and make a decision next meeting?
You can table it if you would like, but I'm ready to vote. It's up to you guys.
I personally would like to take a better view of it, the whole picture, and see what's going on and make it a vote for next meeting.
You can make that motion.
Make a motion that we table this item till the next meeting so we can take a better look, overall view, to see what the real answer should be.
Steve, motion to move filling the ordinance review committee vacancy to the next meeting.
I'll second it in case you want to discuss it.
Can't discuss the tabling motion.
Motion second to discuss.
Can't discuss the tabling motion.
Oh, he's tabling it.
And that
That
doesn't,
sucks.
So you either second the motion and
To
we
table it.
vote, or you don't second it.
I'm not gonna second it.
retract it.
There is no second. Do I have a motion for one of the applicants?
I'm gonna vote for Matt only because I told him 2 months ago to apply when he asked me. And it was on the table twice and we never looked at it during meetings, so I can only go off what I told him to apply, so I have to vote for the guy I said to do it.
So what's his motion?
Is that your motion?
I motion to put Matthew Sullivan on the ORC. Input.
I'll second it because I want to discuss it.
Okay.
That you can do. I have a motion and a second from Matt Sullivan.
We don't have any requirements for the seat. There's no like, hey, you need a degree or anything like that. It's just all volunteers.
No,
Do
there
we-
are stated requirements.
Do either one serve on any other committee or
Matt-
board?
What's that, Bill?
Mark does. Where'd he go?
Mark, that's previous planning board.
Yeah.
But he's not currently sitting.
Pardon me?
He's not currently sitting.
No,
No.
I'm just saying his previous experience
Yeah.
with ordinances.
I don't have Matt's application in front of me on my other computer with that on there. It isn't turning on. So I don't really know. Were there some, did he have qualifications, extra added qualifications written on his application that I can't see, or? Because I know Mark was on the planning board. Is that maybe that's what you guys were just saying?
That's what was just said, yep.
I can read you this thing.
If I can find it. Well, he's asking if you can tell him the experience.
Check your phone, Kev.
I can't even find it. Saw it today.
Matt's?
I saw it today, but I can't find it.
It's printed on the back of the
Oh, I see. All right.
back of the menu.
We're saving paper.
See it, Ken?
You all set, Kevin?
Yeah.
Gonna vote on the motion.
Okay.
The motion is to put Matthew Sullivan on the ordinance review committee. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye.
Nay or aye, where it is.
Kevin?
I'm abstaining.
310. Sorry, 311.
I make a motion to appoint Mark Clement.
Three opposed. Oh, sorry, 131. How's that?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I make a motion to appoint Mark Clement to the vacant ORC position.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
5-0. Congratulations, Mr. Clement. Under other business. Oh, sorry, we have one more under new business, 11C. Vote on crosswalk community outreach event application and fee waiver.
Talked about this a few months ago, if you look at your screen. The Crosswalk Community Outreach Group is requesting to have an event, a fundraising event on the Village Green on the 28th of June. The original design that was on the application was to both use the Kent's Landing area the upper parking area as well as Village Green. After talking with members from the Crosswalk Community Outreach Group, we shrunk that down to reduce the scope to just the Village Green area. You'll see on the screen the 3 food trucks will be on the outbound lane leaving the Village Green. And the original application had approximately 30 tables. They've had overwhelming interest and participation, so we've capped that up to 40 total tables. The small squares you see on the screen indicate a rough positioning of where the tables will go. They will be responsible for coordinating all the setup and tear down. Food trucks will be responsible for hauling in and hauling away their own waste. The event will start approximately at 10 a.m. They'll start setting up at 8, and they're scheduled until 8 p.m., but they'll probably start tearing down slightly before then, so they'll be done in time to meet that 8 o'clock cutoff. The Senior Center restrooms will be made available to to the crafters that are presenting, that have tables. Will not be general access to the public. Talked with our maintenance director, and he's gonna go ahead and make sure that might move around a couple of porta-johns so that we have access to those. There's one minor conflict, that is one of the Saturdays that we're open here at the town office. But with most attendees not showing up till about 10 o'clock, the offices close at 11, so there'll be a small overlap. Might be a little bit of extra added congestion between the 10 and 11 o'clock hour, but after that it'll be open strictly for the folks attending the fair. As I said, they brought this to the board a couple months ago for concept. You thought it was a good idea, but we need your official approval to waive the fees associated with use of town property.
Is there a reason that you didn't try to encourage them to use Kent's Landing instead of?
So this is it's high season. It'll be 28th of June. Boating season's pretty busy. You're gonna have quite a bit of traffic in and out of there for boating in general. So we didn't want to further congest that area by bringing additional foot traffic across the crosswalks, going over where the food trucks were. So we thought consolidating the event just on the Village Green area would be a better choice.
My concern is the new grass.
So there isn't new grass. The grass we seeded last year. We are gonna aerate and seed again this spring. But that's gonna happen in May, so fairly confident that the grass will have taken root and will be pretty durable for a one-day event.
Any questions?
No, my only concern was the grass itself, so.
Need a motion? I'm waiting for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second, so we can talk.
Motion and a second to approve the application. Now you can.
I just have a.
No, wait. Come to the microphone. And then you can talk. We don't want to miss half the conversation.
Kathy, kind of. Thank you, we appreciate your support. We do have 3 food trucks coming in, and there has been a request by one of the food trucks if they could set up the night before. It's sunflower pizza, and apparently they need time to make their dough. Do you anticipate that would be a problem?
I don't have a problem.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Motion and a second. Any other questions?
Somebody.
Sue's got a question.
All in favor?
Sue's got a question.
Oh, sorry. Didn't see you again.
I got blinded, you got blinders on me today. I toyed with whether I should speak or not. I'm all for trying to raise money for this project. I think it's fantastic. When I look at that being one of the 4th of July weekends and bringing in a food truck that specializes in pizza, and then you have one restaurant not far from here that's their thing. They sell pizza. It is a fragile environment that we work in the food industry. And I've looked into this, and I think that there's a lot of moving parts when we're thinking about food trucks. And I mean, I love Sunflower Farm pizza, everybody does, it's fantastic. I do think that it would be nice if the ordinance review committee could get some work done on and around the food trucks before a lot of additional events happen in the weeks that there are to create income. And so I'm just encouraging you to think about that. Like if it was an ice cream truck, I don't know what the other two are, but if it was an ice cream truck, you've got one brick and mortar that is just ice cream. And what does that do to their income? And, you know, we do projected budgets based on what we think we might make. And it's hard to calculate big swings. It's along the same vibe of what I was trying to share with the comprehensive plan, is big swings make, you need a minute to compensate for it. And so I'm not saying no, I'm not saying vote no, clearly. I'm just saying that it's late in the season and it could impact your people's ability to stay open.
Thank you.
This is why I don't come here. And I've tried to
You
stay.
sit at home and watch it instead.
I've tried to stay away for 2 years. Sue's right, somebody has to have a conversation about food trucks, but that's not for tonight. I agree with you, Ted, 6 weeks does not make a lawn. If it rains the night before, if it rains the day of, all those tables out there, all that foot traffic, you know, I know they want to have it here, but for the first year of this fundraiser, you've got the Legion, you've got the parking lot, you've got the space. Unless there's an event going on there that particular day, I'm not sure what the Legion's schedule is, but I'm gonna tell you right now, the chances of ruining that new lawn with the amount of money you spend is far greater than the chances that it's not gonna get ruined. I would say 7 to 1.
It's going to rain that morning because it has a sprinkler system.
I rest my case then.
And my words exactly, I supported this idea when they brought it to us, and I still will support this idea. I'm just not a fan of having it on the village green for that reason.
Do we have anyone here that from Crosswalks that can talk about why we didn't put it at the Legion parking lot, right? And it is a big space, free open.
Basically visibility.
What was it?
Visibility, we felt that, and last year there was a craft fair the Historical Society hosted here, and it just seems like having something right off 302 would give us more people to stop in impromptu that may not even know about what's happening. So when we spoke about 2 months ago, we had put in the application to have it here on the village green. So it didn't occur to me that there would be any second guessing at this point with everybody ready to rock and roll.
If they didn't have it here, wouldn't that just put more burden on the Crosswalks to advertise it and get visibility out there? Let's just say the Legion parking lot, for instance.
Well, we have already started advertising where it is.
I support their project 100%, and I hope it goes well, but
Thank you.
I'm not voting to have it on the village green. If they want to move across the street, I'm all in.
You can't put it on the beach.
It's not a holiday weekend.
Well, we met with Steve, which is why when we originally asked to have it across, the food trucks across where the Kids Garden used to be, Steve asked us not to, for the reason that he expects a lot of traffic there for that particular, starting the weekend before and that weekend and up through the summer. So it was at Steve's suggestion that we move everything over here.
There is quite a bit of space across the street with the swimming area and the new covered picnic area, and as far as not being on the hot top for boat traffic.
What are the hours of this?
10 to 3.
10 to 8? Oh, 8 p.m., 8 a.m. start up.
Guessing we can't put a clause in if they mess up the lawn, they gotta fix it?
Probably not.
In years past, we had a very successful art show all along the causeway. And it feels like this is something that would benefit the majority of the people that live here, that would enjoy the building that they're trying to raise the money for. So maybe that's something that could be considered. I don't know enough about the organization and if that's allowed. I just know that Ed Osborne's wife organized that art show, and it was very successful, I think, and people really enjoyed it, and that might be a great route to, nobody's taken that on, and they certainly had a lot of people involved in that. That was, I think, a George show.
Is this event tied in with the events committee, part of the organization?
No, we met with Chelsea and got her input. I just would remind people that when Oktoberfest was going to have their tables on the causeway, what happened. So we wouldn't want to take the chance that we would run into the same situation.
Anything else?
I don't see why they could go over to Kent's Landing. I mean, still, it doesn't throw off their advertising too much, and I mean, they can manage to get a food truck and 40 tables set up over there, and the people will still park around the village area, and it'll all be the same parking no matter where it is, whether it's at the green or over at Kent's Landing. Everybody's going to park at the same places, so I don't think that's the issue as much as where they're going to set up, but.
Don't we have one more crosswalk signal out there someplace that's gonna be installed?
We do have another crosswalk signal that's coming in, so.
Where?
Right here at the end of Lansdowne.
When?
Sounds like before June 24th.
Yeah, the grass is, we're spending a lot of money on this piece of property,
And I understand that, I'm just
No, I don't.
admittedly don't know what to say at this point when we came here 2 months ago and there wasn't an issue. So
yeah.
I can't speak for, so tell us what you want us to do. You want us to, Jason, move across the street and put the food trucks over there and?
I think again, we're not replanting the whole village green. That lawn went in last spring. We're gonna aerate and reseed here in May. So that new seed will take hold well before the 28th. I don't see this being an issue, but the discussions for the select board right now prior to their vote, so.
You got a lawn expert right in the room here, ask him. Yeah.
He's like, no, thank you.
He didn't want to say it, so I said it for him.
I'm one of the vendors that signed up for this. I think the Village Green is the perfect spot for it. It's beautiful. You can see it way better than across the street. that's where everybody's heard about it so far. And it's grass. Grass will be fine. I think that's the best spot for it. It's got the most visibility. And it's not on hot top asphalt, 120 degrees.
Am I on point?
Craig Jack, Miss Naples. Is it the best time to seed in the fall?
Either spring or fall.
I think the
Same
fall
thing
is
for us.
preferred.
No,
Is the
and
fall
again,
preferred? Is the fall preferred?
Oh, yeah. I don't think they'll hurt the grass. I mean, that soil's been down for
But we-
all the year, whole season.
Just
frost and
consider-
everything. I
don't-
had it set
don't-
up and everything. They were trying to do it last spring? No way, Jose, but, or last June 28th, but I think this year, I think it's 25.
Or hold off to the fall and don't turn the sprinklers on that morning.
Sprinklers will not be up.
Yeah, exactly. Don't-
Morning beans finished yet?
Make a motion?
You made a motion, and we have a second. If there's no more questions, we're gonna vote. Kevin, you all set?
I am.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
opposed,
Aye.
abstained,
Oh, you just,
301.
you just railroaded me.
3-1-1.
That's it.
Under other business,
2 weeks ago.
All right.
volunteers needed for Southern Maine Hospice.
Yeah, so I had received an email from the Southern Maine Hospice Organization a couple weeks ago. They're looking for volunteers. I put it out on the, in my weekly newsletters. I'll have it in the town office as well. Just various ways to volunteer with that organization as they provide hospice care to folks in need. Everything from family support to helping with meals, things like that. So just a good opportunity to give back if you're looking for a way to volunteer in the community. The next item I had for you was a gym update. So several months ago, the select board formed a working group to look at a scaled down version of a recreation-only facility. This was in response to the past couple of previous failed votes for a community center / gym. So I'm just going to briefly review what the working group looked at, got a recommendation for you, and then what we're looking to get out of this brief here is a recommendation from the select board to move forward. And moving forward means before getting this on the November ballot, we would look to garner letters of support and letters of sponsorship from various residents and businesses alike to help offset the funding for this. In addition to that, I just submitted the application today for the congressional directed spending. That's the CDS, which is managed through Senator Collins. They average about $250 million in congressional directed spending each year. Applications were due today. So I submitted an application for $2 million to help offset this project. I was able to get a letter of support from Senator Living, Representative Walker, as well as Jim Gratello, who is the resident representative on this working group. Like I said, the application was submitted today. Deadline is midnight tonight. So for the facility, some of the basic requirements we're looking at, multi-sport court floor. Want to make sure that we could do more than just a single sport in that building. We got a lot of varying interests in town, so we want to make sure we address those. Mixed-use restrooms, total of 6 of them. We have it listed as rec director's office, but it'd just be an admin office. Doesn't really matter who sits in there, but definitely need an office space over there to manage the facility as people are coming in and out. Storage, that was a definite challenge they saw over at the Freiburg rec facility. They didn't build enough storage when they built it, so we want to make sure we had enough space to manage current and future needs. Seating for up to 100 people, 6 basketball hoops, drinking water, lobby for shoe change, mechanical room for electrical and sprinklers, septic system, adequate drainage. Roof runoff is going to be something to manage. That will go in the site survey and the site work. We do have enough land there, and you'll see when I lay it out here, the recommended place we're looking at is Legion Field. We believe we have enough land there that we could possibly engineer some sort of retention pond if the existing ground will not absorb the water coming off the roof in an adequate enough time to keep it from rolling off into the paved surfaces. And then adequate parking, we estimate we're gonna need about 120 parking spots. Currently have 80 in the American Legion parking lot that the town owns, so it'd be addition of at least 40 more spots. And it'd be available for, also for emergencies. If we had any kind of weather emergency or any emergency in general where we had to provide services to the public, we could easily transition the facility to provide those services. Outstanding task, contracting an engineer for the site survey, septic company to design the septic system, solicit letters of commitment for sponsorship and identify potential revenue streams. As previously stated, submitted the request to Senator Collins' office today for federal support, private donations. I think it would be important to set a goal. If this approach is approved, set a goal of how much we want to get, how much we want to target in sponsorship and donations. And then committing up to $650K from the general fund or the unassigned fund balance. So we looked at two COAs. We looked at a single gym surface and then a dual gym surface. I'll just cut to the bottom line. The difference between getting one basketball court and two is a negligible savings of about $280,000. So for $280,000 more, you're going to get double the basketball surface. You're going to get double the number of pickleball courts. You're going to get double the number of volleyball courts. You get so much more out of adding the extra playing surface. And this is based off standard pre-engineered designs. Jim Gratello, who was on the committee here, he worked with the company that helped design some of his previous work, and they provided a drawing that laid it out for us. And the biggest thing with going to standard designs is if you go with something that's off standard, it requires retooling at the plant, and that all equates to cost. So if you can stay within the standard designs and they don't have to retool the plant, there's cost savings to be had. So this is a rough layout of what it would look like. You see the basketball courts. I don't know if you can see them with the resolution that's up there. Let me see if I can make that a little bigger for you.
Okay.
Hold on, maybe it's coming. Maybe. There we go. Don't know if that helped. But in the basketball court, the things that are in blue, those are the pickleball courts. We're gonna have 8 pickleball courts in there. In white, you see the volleyball courts. We get 3 of those in the gym. So again, we can do multiple sports at the same time. You have basketball going on one side, you have pickleball going on at the same time on the other side. So you get much more community use out of the facility. Thanks to Billy Adams for his CAD experience. He came up with just a rough 2-dimensional design. The eaves of the building are going to be about 35 feet, with the peak being about 40. 35 feet is required for those basketball players that like the high arcing shots. Anything lower than that, you're going to start running into interferences, hitting lights, things like that. So the recommended height was 35 feet. The outbuilding there that's going to be on the front, that'll soften the square look and feel of a prefab metal building. But that front building is going to be 96 feet by 30 feet, and that'll house the restrooms, a small conference room area for community meetings, coaches that want to meet, whatever. The restrooms will be in there, as well as the sprinkler room, storage, and the administrative office. This is not a pictorial representation of what the structure will look like, but this is more to illustrate how you can soften the edges on a manufactured steel building.
So it's not gonna have a retractable roof?
It will not have a retractable roof, that is correct. Sorry, but I would call your attention to the way they've incorporated wood beams on the vertical columns. They've changed the bottoms about 6 to 8 feet of the building, changed it in color and tone. We can do that with stone even, just to soften the look and feel of just a standard square box building. All right, so this is that accessory building I was talking about. This is the rough layout. Got a nice broad hallway coming in, about 16 feet wide. Get the community rooms, sprinkler rooms to your immediate left, and the restrooms on the far wall. Electrical room and director's office to the right, and then a large area of storage, 30 by 30 storage to the far right. All right, as far as recommended locations, you'll see a rough overlay here of where the facility would go. We will have to manage the setbacks, look at the buffering. There is enough area there we've got about 220 feet in width. That's basically from where the paved area is over to the adjacent parcel to the northeast. So we have plenty of room there. And then the distance between Route 11 and where the proposed parking would be, we could set that back plenty to still provide a buffer between the road and that parking. All the wooded area in the back there, we own all that. It goes back about another 400 feet. So we could clear trees in there. That would be a potential location for a retention pond. Septic system could either go in that back area as well, or even under the paved area in that grassy area just outside, just on this side of or the parking lot side of the outfield fence. Again, we'll look for recommendations from the septic design company as far as best location to go. We did look at the Old Norway property, which is the property adjacent to the fire station. Some planning considerations there. I talked to our Maine DOT rep regarding driveway or traffic studies, driveway entrances. He did say that 302 is a busier area. We'd have to look at estimated traffic volume as part of the traffic study, what the crossing traffic might look like, as whether or not there would either have to be a center turn lane put in, or if there might have to be even some sort of signal, flashing signal, because you do have a line of sight issue as you come up over that hill just past Smoke and Jay's. Given the speed limit, as people are it should be going 35 miles an hour, not everyone does. That might be a concern for crossing traffic during peak season months. Less of a concern off 11 because there are already 2 driveway entrances over there at Legion property. There is currently a plan in place to have the traffic light or the traffic signal placed at Route 11 and 302 in 2027. So with those mitigating factors, there's less of a traffic concern here. He also shared a comment that it would make the most sense to have recreation all congregated at a single location. So the slide that everyone wants to see, the number slide. So when we talked to the folks at USDA last year when we were looking at the other project, their interest rates were at about 4%. They've gone up slightly. They're now 4.25%. So if we're estimating a total cost of the project right around $3 million. If we did not contribute anything out of the unfunded balance, and we did a loan for 20 years, we're looking annual payments of about $225,000 a year, with a total cost of the project with interest coming in at about $4.5 million. By including $650,000 in financing, or $650,000 out of the unfunded balance, a 20-year loan, our annual payments would be approximately $176,000, so approximately $50,000 less. And our total cost of the project over the course of the loan with interest would be at about $3.5 million. Total mill rate impact would be, if we did $650,000 down for 20 years, it'd be 11-cent mill rate increase. We added an additional 1%, approximately $20,000 for just operating costs, heating, electricity, things like that. That is a 1-cent mill rate increase, so the total cost of the project would be about a 12-cent impact on the mill rate. Any questions?
A couple.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna open it up for emergencies, are we considering a generator, or is there a long-term fix for that?
So the generator was part of the calculations, but as we look at you really have to consider what you're powering. You're not powering a town building that's got servers and things like that. You're dealing with really low voltage LED lighting. If we lose power, you might have to be able to power a computer. So we'd have to look at what the generator size requirements would be and look at the cost of that.
Heat system,
Yeah, the heat and water.
heat, water, lights.
Between the 2 courts, is there any divider?
Yes, there is a drop-down net that will divide the 2 parts.
Do you want to read that list of the stuff that, so he knows?
I can.
No, that's
So,
all I have.
yeah, so
all the other
the,
stuff,
the outfitting of the facility came in at about $178,000. That included drop-down nets, to divide the courts, batting cage, basketball hoops, and several other pieces of ancillary. Bleachers. So it's about 178 grand to completely outfit the gym.
I didn't hear, but this could be used for emergency, housing if needed, in emergency, or?
No, we're not gonna install showers, so it wouldn't be anything long-term, so it'd be, if anything, a warming or a cooling center,
Right, right.
but no plan to do overnight stays, anything like that. We're not gonna outfit it for that.
Now, this building's going where the current ice ring is, not that we use the ice ring a lot, except for pickle courts, but they'll be inside, so that'll take up that whole space.
That's correct.
I had commented to Jason about, so the town has 3 months of issue, so that means we have, like, 15 signed funds. I mentioned, half in jest about the town taking the 3 million, increasing the mill and paying back the 3 million to itself and saving the town $1.5 million in interest over that time period. And so the downfall obviously would be that the town is only running on a 2-month coverage instead of a 3-month. But it would also save the town $1.5 million if it financed it itself.
Jason, when did you hear back from the grant?
I was looking at that earlier. They don't have a timeline as to when Congress reviews the applications and determines how much they're going to, which ones they're going to accept and how much they're going to give to each of them. So I don't have a realistic timeline of when I can hear back on that.
I just want to follow up on one of my questions. I've visited several of these facilities, and instead of a drop-down net between the 2 courts, I would encourage you look into a retractable wall like they have at the high school, because when there's 2 games going on at the same time, the kids are very confused by 4 referees blowing whistles. Just a thought. I'm only going to throw it out there. I see it every weekend down in Saco. Anybody wants to go see it, they can, but the ref down on the far end blows a whistle and everybody stops. It's very confusing. I think the wall at the high school, I'm sure you've seen it, Brian, it's retractable and it will cut down on that noise, but that's just my 2 cents, something to look at. If the cost is $1 million, it ain't worth it. Yep.
Right. So 2 things. One, to answer your question, or your concern, it sounded like you had a concern about the ice rink. That can be moved to the outfield of the softball field. Most towns who have those or putting those up are putting them on grass anyways, and it's been fine. So I'm not concerned about we'll still have the ice rink. It's a curtain as opposed to when you're talking about Saco down on the place I like to call the sweat sock. It's very different. It's thicker. It's fun. I think it'll work. I've seen it over and over again.
It wouldn't be a sweat sock if they'd use their ventilation system.
They really should use a ventilation. That's a whole other discussion. But this curtain that we had quoted that is part of that 178 would do the trick for what you're talking about, in my opinion.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other comments?
I guess this question here. Are those plans going to be available, all that information you just showed, is that on the town website?
After they review it tonight, I will put it on the town website.
I have more questions, but I'd like to study those documents a little bit. Thank you.
Jason, you had mentioned fundraising from the crowd or whatever. Has anybody stepped forward to start a 501(c), kind of like Freiburg did, to raise public funds to match what we're going to take out of the general fund?
There's been no discussion of that. That's pending the decision of this board tonight, whether or not you want us to move forward with this proposal.
Colin, to answer your question, once you give us the go-ahead to proceed, that's the next thing we're gonna do. We've talked about sponsorship. Our goal is to take that 12 cents and get it down to 0. That's our goal. We think we can get it halfway down. We think we can get that down to 6 cents. And if we put our minds to it, and we can drum up support in the community, we think we can get that down to 0. So we need to go ahead to move forward on the site and the project. One of our thoughts is, I don't think anyone cares what the name of the building is. So, you know, we try to get a sponsor for naming rights of the building. We try to get a sponsor for naming rights of the gym inside. We try to get a sponsor for naming rights of the community center. The Lions Club is already, I met with the Lions Club 2 weeks ago, and they're interested in getting involved. Also the benches, like you did on the Parkway, on the Causeway. We're gonna have almost a dozen benches in the area for people to change and everything. Put a plaque on each bench and come up with a price for that. I was a huge proponent of purchasing this land over here. I think it's still a great asset for the town. But the more we thought about it, it makes sense to have all our recreation in one area. And the space is there. If we even consider putting it over here, you're talking about a cost of 100+ car parking lot. You're talking about traffic concerns, turning lanes and everything, traffic studies. Then the most important thing is you're talking about the look of the building. We can get away with the look of the building that we're suggesting on Route 11. Couldn't get away with that look over here in the Village District in the Causeway area. So for all those reasons, I mean, that's why that project came in at $7 million. It got voted down at 17 million for a Taj Mahal here. It got voted down at 7 million for a community center that only had one gym and it had 2 floors and it was an LL Bean replica. The committee decided to take a step back and say, why are we doing this to begin with? This whole thing started because we lost this gym. So we went back and said, listen, let's start at the ground floor. We want to build a gym, not a community center, not kitchens, not all this other stuff. We want to build a gym. And during this process, we can build 2 courts. We can have a community room. We can have parking. We can have events. Brian went out and got an incredible price of nets and batting cages and bleachers and basketball hoops that go up. And I mean, he got a package for $178,000. That's absolutely incredible. I'm in this business. And he got an incredible package of what he's getting. So we're going to be able to do this for $3 million or less. And the community is going to have a beautiful, functional recreation center. And we just need to go ahead to, you know, start fundraising and start going to the next step of getting ironclad quotes and getting septic designs and getting all that other stuff. Thank you.
Good work so far.
Have you scheduled the surveys already?
No,
That was something we already put money in an account for anyways, right?
the money's there.
Do we have a motion for this group to move forward with this project?
Make a motion that we move forward to this project?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions from the select board?
What does that actually entail?
What's that?
What they're gonna do? What does that actually entail? Are they gonna go spend money on quotes and things and ask for RFPs or prices back or?
Yes, so we're looking to get letters of commitment
I was
from.
curious, I'm like, what are we doing next?
So the next objective for the working group is to start now going after letters of support and letters of commitment, of financial commitment that says, hey, if the town votes on this, I commit to spending this, you know, donating or sponsoring this much money. And if it's a naming rights thing, then that obviously comes at a higher price tag. If it's just donation, you know, we'll accept whatever we can get. But raising funds so that when we go to when this goes on the ballot in November, we can paint a very clear picture of the residents that says, this is how much the town's giving out of the unassigned fund balance. This is how much the community and businesses have given in sponsorship and donations. this is the final price tag that we're looking to finance, and this is how we're gonna do it, this is what the impact will be to the mill rate. So we wanna spend the next several months getting all of that together so we have a very clear picture for residents in November.
Can we do that? Can we raise funds? I know we've done it before, like, we're still sitting on money from the dog parks. Can we raise money as a town entity and not be a 501(c)(3) and just sit on that cash, or how does that work?
So I need to look at that, but that's why we're not trying to, we don't wanna take cash right now, that's why
That's what I'm saying.
letters of commitment are, and intent are what we're after right now.
And by us voting yes tonight does not authorize them to spend funds.
The only money they can spend.
Well, that's what I was curious on what we're actually voting on. I feel like they can do that and go forth and conquer with.
Well, no, so if you vote that you agree with this, in last year's budget, we did set aside funds for surveying that land, so that'll let me get the preliminaries done for the site work. It'll also let me get a septic guy out there to determine, where a septic field can go, and I get the septic field design done. So I do have funds in there to kind of get this thing rolling with the ultimate objective. If it passes in November, if it goes on the ballot in November and the town votes yes, then we can move forward with ordering the materials to have the gym built. And once the snow is out in the spring, we can start building in the spring and ideally have this thing open by next winter.
What I meant to say, Jason, is we're not authorizing any additional funds.
That is correct. No additional funds.
Are those gonna be generic RFPs for, survey land, that's great, because we need to know what it is anyways.
Yes.
But for like the septic design, is that gonna be for a standalone unit? Say this gets voted down, we still have a septic design to put bathrooms over there if we ever wanted to? Or?
Yep, you still have a septic design.
So it's,
Yep.
okay.
Let me ask Kevin first. Kevin, you got any questions? You're muted.
I don't, thanks, Denny.
All right,
Appreciate
thanks.
that.
Ken, come to,
When does the civil design get done?
So that'll have to come once the project gets approved.
When's the project complete?
Once it gets approved, because we can't do the civil engineering design until I don't want to spend
Is
that
that
kind
in
of
the
money.
budget?
Depends on how much civil engineer is going to cost me.
About $200 an hour.
Oh, that,
A bunch, you're gonna, it's about, a couple $100,000.
yeah, so that money will not come until the November vote. Now, if it passed in November, because the town would also, if they authorize the appropriation of $650,000 out of the unassigned fund balance, we'd be able to move right away because we already have those funds. We wouldn't have to wait on a loan.
I can't see well, so I didn't notice. Was there a contingency in your estimates?
There was, yes, a 10% contingency. Yep.
The last conceptual design estimate I saw given to the town had a 30% contingency. And that's pretty standard practice, myself, I go ranges, I'd go 30 up and 10 down, with just a picture, you don't know, it's just a picture on a piece of plain paper, so. Yeah, it could go up and down, see what you get. Good, thanks.
any other questions? We have a motion and a second for the group to move forward with this plan. All in favor? Aye. Kevin?
Aye.
5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for everything. You guys
Yeah,
have
thanks a lot for the help
been
on
a
that.
big group working on it. It's great. Letter C, John E. O'Donnell and Associates present overview on property assessments.
Paul,
In the house.
What's that? You wanna go first?
Sure.
I'll let them beat me up and then I'll go up and fix things.
I bear gifts.
Thanks, man.
So a couple of weeks ago, I came before you complaining about the assessed values in the town and how they've been rapidly going up. This conversation is not new. I went back, actually, I shouldn't say I did. Jim Turpin did all the research, so what I just passed out for you, Jim Turpin did, and he also reviewed the tapes. So we went back on October 26th of 2020. John O'Donnell came before us. I was on the select board at the time and made a presentation. about revals, and then Paul came before us a month later on November 30th. At that point in time, we were concerned that the properties being sold in town were far greater than what was being assessed. What I've just given you is the last 20 sales in Naples. They weren't randomly picked, these are the last 20 sales. And you can see that on our books, we only have these 20 properties valued at $8,069,000, and yet they sold for $11,096,000. $3 million more than what we've been assessing the properties for. I also did each percentage for you. You have the address of the property and the percentage. That's a 37.5% difference between what we are taxing the properties for and what they are selling for. So just those 20 properties, that's $27,000 less in the coffers of the town that we could have collected. Now, I don't want to sit here and rehash what happened at those two meetings. If you look up the 10/26 meeting, it's right on the archives of the cable TV, and 11:30, I wrote the dates down on the paper for you. If you look them up, all the arguments that O'Donnell's made, all the arguments that we made, they haven't changed. The fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, it's you guys who are the assessors for the town of Naples. We hire the experts to assist you, but at the end of the day, you're the ones that have to make the decisions. And it's the age-old argument of a rolling reval versus factoring versus chasing sales. And Paul's gonna come up here and do a good job of explaining those issues. But the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting the outcome to change. 5 years have gone by, we're doing the same thing over and over. Nothing has changed, and meanwhile, people, everyone in this room who hasn't sold a property is subsidizing all those properties. And I'm gonna close in saying, and I said it then, I don't understand, if you bought a property for $1 million, I don't understand why in the world you would be upset if this town sent you a tax bill based on $1 million when you just bought that property for $1 million. And the fact that we're assessing you at $700,000 when you just paid $1 million, took a loan out from the bank, it makes no sense. So somehow, some way, we have to figure out a way that we either do rolling assessments, we do assessments based on categories, we do assessments based on neighborhoods. I don't care how you do it. We can't wait 10 more years for the next assessment and give up all this income while the rest of us are subsidizing for it. That's the bottom line. And he's the expert, so he's going to tell you how maybe we can do it or why we can't do it. How's that? How's that for you?
Hi, my name's Paul Burnett. I work with O'Donnell Associates, and I've been with our company. I've been the point man for Naples for 33 years. So, Bill, I've worked for your father, sitting at that bench. Anyway, let's touch on a few things. The last time we did a reevaluation here was in 2022. Prior to that, we did it 14 years before. The reason the state likes it, that we wait at least 10 years. However, sometimes we can't wait 10 years. I remember the meeting that I met with Jim and your different board back then, and it was pretty easy. We needed to do a reevaluation where we visit each and every house to firm up our inventory. While we do visit properties every year, we visit between 300 and 400 properties every year, there's still things that slip through the cracks that folks don't get building permits for. I need to put on a new roof, I'm gonna just put in some new windows, I'm gonna re-side the house. You know, any one of these things by itself isn't anything. However, if I visit a house and I see all these things done, well, it's likely the inside's been done as well, and I have a house that I didn't have before. Jim mentioned that we did a reval 5 years ago. That's incorrect. We did it in 2022. It's been 3 years. And for that reval, I agreed with Jim that, yes, we don't have to wait 10 years to do this again. Let's not let assessments get too far out of whack. I could see by the sales that he gave, thank you, Jim. Oh, this is happening. But we have we have other sales that are closer. The ratio that the state of Maine gave us is 87%. Now, when the state gives us a ratio of 87%, I can stretch that 10 points. So for this year, when we commit taxes, we'll be certifying a 95% assessment ratio. It's not too bad considering this volatile market that we've had in 23, 24, and the beginning of 25. What we do recommend is that we don't overreact too quickly to the market, because 2 years a trend does not make. So right now we're at 3, where we're finishing up, we're about to start our third, or we're in the middle of our 3rd year. We recommend that if we do something, let's do it next year. And this is what I've spoken with Jason about this previous to a meeting with you or hearing from Jim, but we plan on using 4 years, which I hope is in keeping with what Jim wanted to do. So how do you adjust values? There's a few different ways. You could, Jim mentioned, he said, well, if somebody pays 100, you can assess them for 100. Well, you can't do that. If I have 4 houses that are all the same, and they're all assessed at 700, and somebody buys one for $1 million, and I just can't arbitrarily put $1 million on that and leave 3 other homes just like his with the same frontage, same land at 700,000. If I did that, I'd be creating an inequity right there. I'd be screwing up your assessment system, because right now, at least everybody is screwed evenly, or as evenly as we can. What we do recommend is that you don't chase sales. That's when you change an assessment immediately. Well, you could do factoring. Now, factoring is a very wide paintbrush. The state has us for this year at 87%. Logic tells us, well, if you just add, 13% to everybody's assessment, you'll get our ratio up to 100. But that's not really true, because really different classes of property change over, in just 3 years of the market. Waterfront properties grew faster. They increased more than rural residential properties. So with that, the state has an average ratio of our waterfront properties at 81% for this year. And all of our rurals are at 87%. So you see a disparity that we have. So what we have now is we have a 6-point spread, and I'm 5 points behind. Right now, and especially this year, the market's still volatile, but I think things are coming down. What we're recommending is next year we decide what we do, what we do and how we do it. We can either do a 1%, pick a percentage, and we apply it to all properties. But that doesn't change the inequities that we have between waterfronts and rurals and condominiums. What we could do is get in a little bit deeper and say, okay, the waterfronts need to come up a little bit more, and the rurals not so much. That's where we get into it a little bit deeper. Or we can do a valuation update, is where we do sales studies for all properties. We don't visit them, because I think our inventory is very, very well. We just visited everybody 3 years ago. And a valuation update is where we just readjust our schedules for each individual body water. Because if you say, like, well, waterfronts are not, are climbing higher, but is like Tricky Pond climbing as high as Long, or is Brandy climbing as high as Sebago? So what that is, we just have to figure out, or we'll get deeper into this, how deep do you want us to go with this factoring? Secondly, a reevaluation does not generate more cash for the town. You are not leaving any money on the table, period. It doesn't give you more money. What it does is it gives you more value. Your tax rate is this. Take your spending, divide it by your value, that's your tax rate. So if we just increase the value of the town and your spending stays the same, we lowered your tax rate a little bit. But it doesn't generate any new money. You can't collect more than 5% of what you need to spend any time. That's the law. Questions?
Not yet.
What happens when there's a house in Naples that was appraised for $450,000? Somebody wanted it. 2 or 3 people wanted it.
Yes.
They paid over $600,000 for that house that was only worth $450,000. What does that do to the actual appraisal value of that?
Well, we see that often, sir. And on the flip side of that, some people are better negotiators and get better deals.
Right.
Some folks are motivated sellers. Inside every sales study that we do, Captain, would you mind throwing a sales study up on the screen? Inside every grouping of sales that we have, we use the center 70% to come up with our quartile, for the reason that 15% of the people got a really good deal and maybe 15% of the people overpaid. So when we come up with our assessment schedules, we use the center 70% quartile. Thank you. So that's what it looks like right there. It's a combined study.
What's that say?
A combined.
What is that?
These are all the sales from the most recent state valuation. So that's the state tax assessor when he comes over and he says, okay, this property sold for this, how much, what did it sell for? What it does is it gives us a lead onto reacting to the market next year, which is what we...
Those are all considerably higher, what I was saying.
Well, actually,
all those sales are considerably higher than what it's assessed at.
Yes, sir, but if you scroll down, you're going to get to where... So, well, hold on, if you scroll back up, you can see where selling price, the first one, selling price $710,000, assessed value $411. That's your very first sale. Can you scroll down? Okay, now here's where somebody else needed, at the bottom, sale price, I can't see, 1.62, assessed value 1.514. So in some instances, we're a lot closer, but I don't think that to factor, after 3 years, I think that it'd be more prudent if we had a little bit more data. That's why we think 4 years would be a better time to do it and not this year. I don't disagree with Jim that we shouldn't wait 10 years. I think we can do better than that, and I think 4 years would be fine.
What happens to the tax rate? Price of housing goes up, goes up, goes up.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden, the real estate market breaks, the bubble breaks.
That happened.
And all happened in New York. I was a real estate broker in New York for a few years.
It happened here, sir.
2009, 10 in those areas.
It did.
And that bubble broke, and all those people that overpaid for those houses are now all underwater.
Yep.
All right. So what happens to the tax rate? Anything?
No, provided that everybody is assessed at the same rate, and I didn't chase any sales. Provided everybody is assessed at the same rate using the same yardstick, everybody's at least carrying the same burden. A few minutes ago, I said that we're according to this, our average ratio is at 86%. I think it is, yeah. So in 2009, I think we were at 105, 106%. Yeah, great. We were all a little over assessed. As long as we're between 70% and 110%, our assessments are fine.
Average stays.
Now, we could strive like heck just to keep you every single year at 100%, but to do that, I need a fully staffed assessment office. And sir, even with a fully staffed assessment office, I can think of a neighboring municipality here right on 302 that has one. And their ratio is not as good as ours.
So you're recommending a 4-year assessment?
Yeah, yes, sir.
We've gone by two more to go?
We're on 3.
On 3.
So it'd be, what, we've done 2, we're approaching our 3rd, so next year will come. It was 2022 when we committed our reval, not 2020.
No, I said 2020 is when we started the discussions. Yeah.
You said 5 years, sir, since the
Right.
reval, and it's only been, I haven't committed the 3rd time yet, sir.
I make a motion, we table this discussion, till, the next meeting where we decide
Thank you for the,
if we're gonna have, a 5-year out reeval or 4-year.
whatever the board decides, we're willing to do anything, except we think that 3 years is just, we're at 95%. We'll be okay. To cause angst after just 3 years, I think we're okay to go with 4. We're gonna have a 95% ratio. I think that's pretty good.
What are we scheduled for now, just 10?
We're
just
not scheduled to
we're not
have
scheduled for
one.
anything.
Like Paul said, the state looks to 10, but watching that ratio, that's kind of the trigger. You don't want that ratio to get so low, because then your property values are far exceeding your last assessment. So that's why he continues to monitor the ratios to make sure that, okay, it's either a database-driven decision by the ratio, or it's a calendar-based decision that says, all right, we're getting kind of close on our ratio, we're at about that 4 or 5 year mark, do we do an assessment? And then I still need to reach out to, Paul and I probably need to have a discussion to see what that's gonna cost, because it's,
Well, depending on what you want to do,
yeah.
depends on the cost. If you just want to say, hey, just add so much to everybody in town's assessment and that's it, well, that's cheap, that's easy. It doesn't really cure the inequities between, or the difference, how somebody on the water right now is assessed lower than somebody rural. So the deeper we go with that is, well, maybe we should adjust waterfronts at this rate and rural's at a smaller rate. That would bring everybody up, but then, it just goes down to subsets. Like, okay, if we're gonna raise water, is it all the water? Or how are you gonna do so much for Tricky, so much for Brandy, so much for Long, Sebago, Peabody? So you, as Jim said, you are the assessors. And I think we'll be able to provide you with all these options and a cost associated with each. But they definitely won't be as high as a reevaluation.
I think it would make, Kevin made a motion to table this, and I'm okay with that.
I was gonna second.
It would, you did second.
I was gonna.
Go ahead.
I'll second Kevin's motion, so we can gather more information and get a rate, fee, and schedule from O'Donnell Brothers.
It would make sense to me to set a standard to do a whole reval in 10 years and do factoring in 5 years. That way you have a standard that you can follow. Those factors could go up or down, depends on the sale.
Or just what it is.
And I'm just looking at the expense. If we do a reval every 10 years, and you're gonna talk about factoring it every 4 years, now you've got 2 factors in that 10 years instead of 1. Just watching out for the dollar, that's all. But, motion and a second to table this item until next meeting. All in favor?
What are we waiting for the next meeting now?
Kevin, motion was to table it.
To get more information.
I think, because he's gonna be here.
Yeah, and I really don't think that it's, time-wise, if we're looking at a 5-year, based on the discussion here, 4 or 5 year factoring, I don't think there's a real sense of urgency to get that done by the next meeting. I think there can be some deliberate thought made to this, so you can have some decision-making material.
Kev, you want me to rescind and you make a motion just to table it till we get more information and whenever?
Yes, so moved.
Second your motion you just gave him.
So need a new motion, Kevin?
I make a motion that we table this, till further discussion.
Second.
A new motion is to table until further discussion. Any questions?
No, he's gonna come back with
And
it.
you guys are gonna come back with an estimate on what it would cost
Sure.
for factory. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
5-0.
Captain. You still have that thing hiding in your back. May I be excused?
Are you done?
Yes.
Thanks, man.
I need a motion to go to executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056A for personnel matters.
Right, no. Yeah, so moved.
A second, but I got discussion. Are we doing this first? It wasn't on the agenda, but
What?
it's in my hand. The
Yeah, it's for legal.
budget validation. Jason, do we gotta do this? Do you need a motion to approve this, or what is this?
Oh, that's what, you just gotta sign that. That's for the, school warrant.
Oh, so we don't have a motion or anything?
No.
So you're gonna second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Kevin?